Most warnings about the future of automation focus on artificial intelligence stealing human jobs, but the underlying macroeconomic reality is the opposite. We are quickly running out of humans to perform the work our system requires. This graph tracks the global working age population. Over the coming decades, birth rates that have been sliding for 50 years finally hit the bottom line. This trend threatens the mathematical logic of an economy designed for perpetual expansion. Even as the human workforce begins to contract, the global demand for labor continues to climb. The space opening up between these two lines represents a structural void in the global market. To bridge this gap, current projections suggest that 3 billion humanoid robots will need to be integrated into the global workforce by 2060. Deployment on this scale serves as an emergency macroeconomic patch designed to sustain a global economy that is reaching its human limit. A synthetic workforce of this magnitude requires a sophisticated cognitive engine. The race to build that general-purpose brain has moved much faster than most forecasters expected. This chart tracks expert predictions for the arrival of artificial general intelligence. In just 2 years, the median projection on platforms like Metaculus has been pulled forward by over a decade, now centering on the 2030 to 2040 window. This acceleration is being driven by what researchers call self-automating operations. When AI models, they create a recursive loop. The speed at which capabilities multiply begins to feed on itself, forcing the timeline for machine intelligence exponentially vertical. The software brain required to manage a global robotic workforce is arriving years before society has developed a framework to manage its impact. But digital intelligence is economically limited unless it can interact with the physical world. To solve a labor shortage in construction, logistics, or healthcare, the software needs a body. This is where physical AI comes in. Engineers prioritize the humanoid form because our entire global infrastructure, from hallway widths to the shape of our tools, was built specifically for bipedal bodies. While building these machines was once too expensive for mass use, falling hardware costs and breakthroughs in 3D perception have reached a tipping point. Humanoid workers are becoming a viable alternative to human labor in increasingly complex environments. McKinsey projections suggest that by 2040, these systems will move beyond the factory floor. They will use physical AI to navigate the chaotic environments of grocery stores, warehouses, and households. Matter of fact, we are mass-producing synthetic humans because it is faster to build a robot that fits our world than it is to rebuild the world to fit a machine. As robotic labor replaces human wages, the productivity of the global economy concentrates in the hands of a small class of technology asset owners. Without intervention, this shift leaves the majority of the population without a traditional source of income. In this environment, universal basic income operates as a mandatory stabilizer. It creates a redistribution loop to sustain the consumer base and prevent a total systemic collapse. Data from pilots in Finland shows that unconditional income effectively manages the immediate financial shock of joblessness. Participants reported significantly lower stress levels and a higher trust in social institutions, even when they weren't working. These results suggest that the mathematical problem of how to distribute money in a jobless world is solvable through policy. However, solving the financial crisis reveals a deeper, more personal vacuum. While money can be redistributed, the structure and identity that work provides cannot. Thinkers like Yuval Noah Harari argue that the Finland results only address the short-term stress of poverty. They warn that the permanent removal of human labor threatens to erase the primary source of human identity. For centuries, the labor market has provided our daily routines, our social circles, and our sense of utility within the community. This is the challenge of the 2040 horizon. In a world where every physical and financial need is met by a synthetic workforce, the human experience risks losing the struggle and routine that historically gave it shape. The mass deployment of 3 billion robots marks the end of human work and the beginning of a much harder search for a reason to exist.